Hey, good morning. Thanks for joining me this morning, Searchlight, as we are in our second day of our devotional series about anxiety and how it sucks. My guess is that almost every person on the face of this earth right now is sensing anxiety from time to time in the circumstances that we're finding ourselves in. I also love the fact that the Bible is such a great help at circumstances that we face, like anxiety, because God made sure that all the circumstances that are common to people are in the Bible, and he includes those circumstances even with people that we consider the heroes of the faith. We can read throughout the Bible that men and women risked their lives with faith, parting the Red Sea and going up against Pharaoh. The woman that hid the spies, the Jewish spies, at the risk of her own life. All the miracles that you read about that these men and women did were amazing acts of faith. But God also reveals within his word those same people's shortcomings. And one of those shortcomings that we're talking about today is anxiety. So we're going to look at one of the probably most known heroes of the faith in the Old Testament, and that's King David. And I think we're going to look at some things that he said that maybe would shock you as he has a conversation with God. We're going to look at Psalm 13, verses 1 through, 3 this morning. And we'll start with verse 1. It's pretty enlightening. It says, "O Lord, how long will you forget me? Forever? How long will you look the other way?" You know, David is speaking to the Lord here and asking how long this circumstance that he's in is going to last. We don't really know historically. I tried to figure out what was going on in David's life when he wrote this Psalm 13. But we know one thing: he feels like whatever it is, it's lasting forever. And he also accuses the Lord of looking the other way. It's just crazy. You know, here's this king of Israel, one of the most powerful nations at the time. And David is the king of this place. And his feelings right now are abandonment. You got to love the transparency of David here and love the fact that God includes his emotional state, not hiding this man of God that was so mighty and his frailties when it came to being challenged by the enemy. He's feeling forgotten here. Let's look at verse 2. It says David continues his complaint, okay? And he asks a couple questions here in verse 2. How long must I struggle with anguish in my soul, with sorrow in my heart every day? How long will my enemy have the upper hand? I got to admit, I've definitely felt this way at times. You know, trouble brings anxiety, and it's a part of life in this fallen world. Maybe you can relate to that too. If it hasn't happened in the past, well, I hate to tell you, but it's probably going to come your way, because more likely than not, it's part of life. So David's asking, how long will the enemy have the upper hand? He's obviously feeling the vacuum of God's presence, wanting to feel God's presence and just the strength that he gives. And sometimes we just go sometime without really feeling it. And now he's feeling like this vacuum has been filled by his enemy. And he's saying that he doesn't see any end in sight. Do you talk to the Lord like David is talking here? I hope you do. David's relationship with the Lord was solid. He was aware that the Lord knew his every thought. He knew about his anxiety. He had no problem sharing about that and being transparent about it. You know, my go-to place when I'm freaking out, well, it used to be the jetties on the beach down at Long Branch, where we have our first water baptism, and we also have our Easter morning sunrise service. And the jetties have been removed, but I still go down to the beach. But I used to stand on the end of the jetty and going through whatever I was, and my arms would be going like this. You know, I don't know, people looking from the street were thinking like, I'm not going on that jetty right now. This guy's nuts. And I would just be frail, and I didn't give a dang who was looking. And I'd get it done. I just let it go, and I'd leave it with God, and I'd walk away. I could trust that he saved this idiot, and I could trust that he heard my insanity and yelling and my anxiety, and I could allow it to stay in his hand and go my way, just venting it out. It's okay to do that. That's really prayer. It's talking to God. It's talking to a friend who knows you better than you know yourself. That's a gift that David really held on to. He knew he had it. He knew he had a friend in God that knew his angst, knew his anxiety. In verses 3 through 6, it kind of got settled with David. It reads like this: "Turn and answer me, O Lord my God. Restore the sparkle to my eyes, or I'm going to die. Don't let my enemies gloat, saying we have defeated him. Don't let them rejoice at my downfall, but I trust in your unfailing love. I will rejoice because you have rescued me, and I will sing to the Lord because he is good to me." Great verses at the end of his rant. Let's take David's example, guys, and speak to the Lord honestly. He already knows what's going on in your head. It's so much better, instead of letting it rattle around in there, to speak it out to God. Let him know. But it's also good because we're not doing life together here in our church. We talk about that all the time. Sometimes it's good to talk to somebody with skin on them too. Don't be afraid to be transparent with your brothers and sisters. Trust that they have your back. And don't forget to talk to God. He knows you so well. And he can handle a crazy guy standing on the end of a jetty, pouring out his heart. He can handle you too. God bless and have a good week.